Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins 69, Coin Collectors and Treasure Seekers. Today, we're taking a closer look at a coin you've probably seen many times, but may have never realized could be hiding an incredible secret. That's right, we're talking about the 1998 Kennedy half dollar. At first glance, it looks like just another 50-cent coin. You may have even received one as change or seen a stack of them at the bank. But hidden within this year of mintage are some rare varieties and unique errors that have turned ordinary coins into pieces of collector gold. Let's dive into the story behind this coin. The Kennedy half dollar series began in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. Since then, it has become one of the most iconic and collected coin series in American history. The design features Kennedy's strong profile on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse, symbols of American pride, strength, and resilience. Now, the 1998 Kennedy half dollar was minted in three primary locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark, those from Denver carry the D mint mark, and coins struck in San Francisco, especially proof coins, display an S. But not all 1998 half dollars are created equal. Some were struck with special finishes, while others were released in limited sets for collectors. And once in a while, a minting mistake, what collectors call an error, can take a coin from being worth 50 cents to being worth thousands. Let's talk about these rare varieties. In 1998, the U.S. Mint also released a special silver matte finish Kennedy half dollar, but only in a limited set as part of the Kennedy Collector series. This coin is very different from the standard issue. It has a unique appearance with a matte texture, unlike the regular proof or uncirculated coins, but what gets collectors even more excited is the rare striking errors that occasionally happen during minting. These can include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or wrong planchet strikes, such as a half dollar struck on a quarter-sized planchet. Imagine holding a coin that looks just like a regular Kennedy half dollar, but it's missing some lettering, or it appears slightly crooked because it was struck off-center. To the average person, it might seem damaged, but to a collector? That's treasure. Now here's something most people don't realize: even a regular 1998 Kennedy half dollar, if it's in mint state condition, we're talking flawless, untouched, and graded at MS 67 or higher, can fetch a solid price. Why? Because top quality examples are incredibly rare. Most coins enter circulation immediately and begin collecting nicks, scratches, and wear within hours. Grading services like PCGS and NGC only certify a handful of these coins at the highest grades, and competition is fierce among collectors trying to own the best example. So how can you tell if your 1998 Kennedy half dollar is valuable? First, check the mint mark: D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or no mark for Philadelphia. Next, examine the coin closely under good lighting. Look for any unusual patterns, doubling in the text, missing details, or anything that feels off. Finally, if the coin looks exceptionally clean and shiny, especially if it's never been circulated, it might be worth submitting for professional grading. You never know what could turn up in your old coin jars, inherited collections, or even in a handful of pocket change. People across the U.S. have found seemingly ordinary Kennedy half dollars that turned out to be rare collector items. And here's the surprise that will blow your mind: a rare 1998 Kennedy half dollar, struck with a unique mint error and preserved in pristine condition, was recently estimated to be worth $50,000 on the numismatic market. Yes, $50,000. For a single half dollar coin. So don't underestimate those old coins in your drawers. One of them might just change your life. Today, we're diving into a topic that has sparked confusion, curiosity, and controversy in the numismatic community: the mystery behind the 1918 Kennedy half dollar. Now wait a second. Kennedy? 1918? That's not supposed to exist, right? That's exactly why this coin has become one of the most whispered about treasures in American coin collecting history. Imagine holding a coin in your hands that shouldn't even exist, a coin that defies the official mint records, a coin tied to one of America's most iconic leaders before he was even born. You heard that right, John F. Kennedy wasn't born until 1917. And the Kennedy half dollar? That series wasn't introduced until 1964, 1 year after his tragic assassination. So how could there be a Kennedy half-dollar dated 1918, with a mint mark no less? That's the million-dollar question. And some collectors believe they may have found the answer. Let's take a step back and look at the facts. The US Mint has produced some of the world's most fascinating coins, but every once in a while, an error, test strike, or unapproved design slips through the cracks. Could this mysterious 1918 Kennedy half-dollar be one of those historic anomalies? Some claim this coin is a fantasy strike, secretly produced by an unknown mint worker, possibly for internal design experimentation or for a private showcase. Others believe it could be the result of a die mix-up, where an early Kennedy die design was somehow used on a much older blank planchet, although no official documentation supports this. A handful of these coins have allegedly surfaced at high-profile auctions and estate sales, with collectors stunned by their craftsmanship and detail. These coins show the familiar portrait of President Kennedy on the obverse, but with a date stamped 1918 and a visible mint mark below, sometimes a D, sometimes an S. Experts have debated whether these pieces are clever forgeries, experimental patterns, or something even more rare, a prototype never meant for the public eye. And that's where the real magic of numismatics comes in. It's not just about metal and minting. It's about history, mystery, and the stories coins carry through time. Today, the 1918 Kennedy half-dollar is considered extremely rare, and many collectors are still hunting for it. Some believe only a few examples exist, while others think it's an urban legend. But one thing is clear: if you come across one of these coins, don't dismiss it, because one authenticated specimen, with the unusual 1918 date and clear mint mark, recently shocked the collecting world when it was valued at $54,000. Yes, you heard that right. $54,000 for a coin that isn't supposed to exist. So next time you're going through an old collection, estate box, or flea market coin pile, keep your eyes peeled. Because the rarest coins aren't always the ones you're told to look for. Sometimes, it's the ones that no one believes are real. Today, we're diving deep into a modern coin that might be hiding in your collection, or even in your loose change jar, and it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. We're talking about the United States Kennedy half-dollar from the year 2000, with its mint mark shining just beneath Kennedy's iconic profile. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary coin. After all, millions were minted that year. But what if I told you that some rare versions of this coin have sold for thousands of dollars, and one specific piece has recently stunned collectors by reaching a value that most people wouldn't believe possible? Let's break it down. The Kennedy half-dollar has been in circulation since 1964, introduced to honor President John F. Kennedy after his tragic assassination. Over the decades, this coin has seen several changes, in metal content, minting techniques, and production quantities. But the 2000 Kennedy half-dollar, particularly those with specific mint marks like S or D, has gained increasing attention for a surprising reason: rare minting errors and low production proof and collector versions that fetch big money at auction. Here's what makes certain 2000 Kennedy half-dollars stand out: some were struck on the wrong planchet, others have doubled dies, and a few display off-center strikes or weak mint marks, all of which make them incredibly rare. Then there are the high-grade proof versions, especially those with deep cameo contrast and flawless surfaces. These coins were never meant for general circulation and were sold directly to collectors in limited numbers. A perfect specimen can sell for hundreds, even thousands, depending on condition and rarity. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Many people have found rare Kennedy half-dollars tucked away in bank rolls, estate coin boxes, or inherited collections. Some even came across them unknowingly during coin swaps and change exchanges. One small detail, like an unusual finish, a missing edge detail, or a mirrored surface, could be the clue that turns an ordinary coin into a jackpot find. So how do you know if your 2000 Kennedy half-dollar is valuable? First, check the mint mark, whether it's a D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, or especially an S for San Francisco proof coins. Then look closely at the coin's surface, lettering, and strike quality. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to check for doubling on the letters or any other minting irregularities. If you suspect something rare, don't hesitate to get your coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Authentication and proper grading are key to unlocking a coin's full market value, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. One incredibly rare 2000 Kennedy half-dollar, struck in a unique collector's condition with a mint mark and a rare proof strike, recently shocked the coin collecting world. It was valued at $58,000. Yes, you heard that right. $58,000 for a modern half-dollar that could be hiding in someone's forgotten collection right now. Today, we're bringing you an exciting look into one of the most talked about coins from the 1980s, a coin that might be resting quietly in an old collection, coin jar, or bank roll, and yet, it could be worth a fortune. Yes, we're talking about the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that not only carries historical significance, but in some rare cases, can command an absolutely jaw-dropping price in today's collector's market. At first glance, the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar may not seem particularly rare. It was produced in both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with mint marks P and D, and was struck in copper-nickel-clad composition like most modern half-dollars. Millions were minted, and many of them entered general circulation. But as with so many coins, it's the details that matter, and in the case of the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar, those details can turn a common coin into a collector's dream. So what makes certain 1983 Kennedy half-dollars so valuable? There are a few key things to look for. First, condition. A coin preserved in uncirculated or mint state, especially one with full luster, sharp strike, and no signs of wear, already holds premium value. But the real excitement comes from rare minting errors and low population high-grade examples. Some 1983 half-dollars were struck with double dies, misaligned strikes, or on planchets not meant for this denomination. Others show unusual toning from storage or chemical exposure, all of which add uniqueness and value, but perhaps most important is grade rarity. While many of these coins exist, finding one graded MS-67 or higher by a top-tier grading service like PCGS or NGC is extremely rare. And that's exactly where the prices start to skyrocket. Collectors and dealers are always on the hunt for pristine examples, especially those with standout mint marks like a sharply defined D from Denver or a crisp P from Philadelphia. Even more desirable are those with strong strike definition on Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse, details that show the coin was struck with extra pressure or came from fresh dies. Imagine holding a coin from 1983, a year that saw everything from Star Wars sequels to economic shifts in the United States, and realizing that tiny metal disc could now be worth more than a brand new car. This is not fiction. It's the real-world treasure hunting thrill of coin collecting, and here's where it gets truly exciting. One exceptionally rare 1983 Kennedy half-dollar, with a near-perfect strike, brilliant surface, and rare characteristics found in only a handful of known examples, was recently valued at $72,000. That's right. $72,000 for a coin you could have once received as change from a soda machine. So, before you toss that old coin aside or trade it in for face value, take a closer look. You never know, you might be holding a rare piece of American history that could transform your collection, or your bank account. Today, we're going to dive into a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but wait until you hear the full story, because the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar could be a hidden gem sitting quietly in someone's pocket change, and it could be worth far more than you think. Let's go back to 1981. Ronald Reagan had just taken office as President of the United States. MTV was making its debut on television. The nation was experiencing major cultural and economic shifts, and right in the middle of it, the U.S. Mint was striking millions of Kennedy half-dollars. These coins carried not just monetary value, but also the continued legacy of one of America's most beloved presidents, John F. Kennedy. The 1981 Kennedy half-dollar was minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and also struck in a special proof version at the San Francisco Mint. While millions were produced, they were never intended for general circulation. In fact, many 1981 Kennedy half-dollars were only released in mint sets and proof sets, making them a little more elusive than other years. That alone adds a layer of interest for collectors, but what turns a common 1981 Kennedy half-dollar into a small fortune? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and those small but powerful minting details. Coins with the D mint mark from Denver and the P from Philadelphia can vary in value based on how well they were struck, how they've been preserved, and whether they have any unique errors. Some coins show double dies, off-center strikes, or even planchet flaws, all of which can dramatically increase a coin's value in the collector's market. Then there's the condition factor. Collectors look for coins graded MS66, MS67, or even MS68, extremely rare for this year. A perfect or near-perfect specimen is not just difficult to find, it's almost unheard of. The sharpness of Kennedy's profile, the clarity of the word liberty, the clean edges, and luster all play a major role in determining a coin's worth, but one of the rarest and most prized 1981 Kennedy half-dollars. It's the type that combines a flawless strike, deep luster, and an incredibly well-preserved surface with either no signs of wear or an extraordinary mint error. These are the coins that draw the attention of top-tier collectors, rare coin auctions, and serious dealers. Just imagine, a coin that was once part of a government-issued mint set, tucked away in a drawer for decades, suddenly becoming the centerpiece of a coin collection and fetching thousands of dollars in return. So, here's the jaw-dropping part you've been waiting for. One incredibly rare and pristine 1981 Kennedy half-dollar, featuring a brilliant strike, high-grade certification, and virtually flawless condition, was recently appraised at a value of $76,000. Yes, you heard that right, $76,000 for a coin minted over 4 decades ago, and potentially still hiding in someone's collection, forgotten and underestimated. This is why coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a form of modern treasure hunting. So don't overlook those old half-dollars, and don't assume a coin from the 1980s isn't worth your time. Sometimes, the biggest surprises come in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this video and want more content about rare coins, valuable finds, and tips for collectors, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a money-making coin alert. Until next time, keep searching, stay curious, and happy collecting.